Welcome, flesh-eating scarabs, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Review from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight, we are embarking on a new month. A little different than what we promised 2 weeks ago. We are not going to be doing we're not going to be talking about the movies that we have to scratch our head and wonder why was this made. We're going to say that perhaps till next month. But this month, I felt like I wanted to, because it's, we're in the dog days of summer right now. I mean, I am shining by how sweaty I am right now.
Yeah.
The hum you hear in Mike's room, that is his AC. I don't blame him for not turning it off.
Can you hear it now?
No, not really. I'm just saying, if somebody does pick it up, that's what they are, and they're not experiencing hearing issues.
Right.
Yeah. So instead, we are going to be covering some summer blockbusters. I had originally posited this as maybe we should look at stuff that had no right to be as good as it is. Now, a couple of these movies that we've picked, I haven't seen or Mike hasn't seen, so we'll have to let that be the judge of that. But we're going to start with an all-time favorite of a lot of our friends on Twitter.
Although I've heard that M really doesn't like this movie.
Not at all. Not at all. And that is 1999's The Mummy. So, when was the first time you saw this movie, Mike?
I don't remember. I'm sure we rented it at some point.
I saw this in the theater. I'm trying to think. I might have actually gone by myself to see this one. 1999 might be the last truly great summer for movies. If you think about it, the following year, in 2000, I don't really remember what came out in 2000 other than like Mission Impossible 2.
And I didn't much care for that as far as the Mission Impossible movies go.
Yeah.
It was my least favorite.
Yeah, but I feel like this was the last great summer. We had, we had The Mummy, we had The Matrix, we had Phantom Menace, we had American Pie, we had, The Sixth Sense, Mystery Men, Drop Dead Gorgeous. There's a lot of movies that got released in this very, very tight time frame, and I was really happy with this one. In particular, I feel like this is one of those movies that is like, there's no reason for it to be as good as it is. Because to your point from last time we met, when we were talking about Jurassic World Dominion with Derek, this is flat out, it's a popcorn movie. It is why, it's that, that whole thing of why we go to the movies. We go to movies for escapism. And this is, it's pure, just fun.
Yeah. There are a lot of things that do kind of irk me about it, but like they're more like kind of storytelling logic.
Yeah,
it just kind of glosses over as opposed to just overall fun. The movie itself is just really fun to watch. Brendan Fraser at his most Brendan Fraserist. Rachel Weisz.
Brendan Fraser is a movie star in this movie.
Yeah.
Up until this point, I had never really seen it. I liked him and stuff that he had been in.
Yeah.
But in this, he really won me over. He was a true movie star. And, it's a shame that this is kind of like the tail end of his movie stardom before he kind of gets blacklisted from Hollywood for something completely out of his control. Yeah. I'm happy he's back now. He's got an Oscar. And hopefully it's just smooth sailing ahead. But he is so good in this.
Yeah, and he's very Han Solo-esque.
He is. This movie has got a very distinctive Indiana Jones vibe to it.
Oh yeah. Very much on purpose. I have no
doubt. Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like he really carries this movie in ways that like a lesser lead actor at this time would have really sunk this movie.
Yeah.
He's all in on it, which I adore. I love that he is just like full bore.
Yeah.
This is me.
He is totally in on the movie. He's like, It's goofy fun, and I am down for it. I am going to give my 110%. I mean, just go for the scene where the mummy just wakes up, it roars at him, and he roars back at it.
Right. Yeah. That. The little asides. The fact that he's so suave and cool in this movie. But he's never caddish.
No.
Like, he's never, like, there really isn't a whole lot of I'm in it for me. There's when Edie, helps him get out of prison.
Yeah.
But there's just so much to like about his performance in this. Rachel Weisz is the same thing. I think this may have been the very first thing I saw her in.
It's got to be one of her earlier roles.
Yeah, I'm looking right now to see if there might have been something I'd seen prior, but she's fantastic in this movie. Yeah. She's really good. I remember being really annoyed by John Hannah's character until I watched it this past weekend with the kids, and he's not nearly as bad as I thought he was. He's actually quite good in this.
He's quite good at being an annoying brother who still somewhat pulls his own weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got her filmography here. She really did not have a whole lot before this.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know anything mainstream that she would have been in?
She was in the Keanu Reeves Morgan Freeman classic Chain Reaction.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you see, I don't know who the villain is in this movie anymore. I've lost track. They're really good. I mean, the cast of characters in this. I mean, there's the Americans are just the dumb guys. They're all honestly, they're all varying degrees of Cary Elwes' character in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, he was like the Texan.
Yeah.
So they're all, and there's that great scene when Ardeth Bay's men come to they take the ship, and they're all firing away with 6 shooters. They're
yeah.
But yeah, I mean they're all good for what they need to be, which is just chum in the water. Yeah. Other characters here, I mean, Kevin O'Connor is Benny. Benny is a great foil. Yeah,
he is the flip side of Rick.
Yeah.
He is the other side of that coin. He's like, if Rick was in it just for himself, then he would be Benny.
Yeah, he would be exactly, and it's great to have that sniveling weasel character.
Going back with the Raiders of the Lost Ark, he's Belloc.
In a way, Benny is never Belloc is Indy's equal.
Yeah.
They're contemporaries. Benny is not Rick's equal.
No, but he is kind of the flip side of Rick, the same way that Belloc is the flip side of Indy.
Right. It is nice. You get that, you get that nice, satisfying comeuppance at the end.
Yeah.
Other actors here to talk about. We've got Oded Fehr as Ardeth Bay. Whew. Dude looks like Kevin Nash around this same time.
For being pretty much a straight man to Rick's kind of more charismatic Han Solo, he is so good in this role. He
is very good. He does a lot with the little he is given to do, and that's not a slight on his performance or the writing in this movie. They gave him just enough to do with this. He's essentially like those Knights Templar protectors in The Last Crusade. If you want to draw another Indiana Jones comparison. They're there to protect the tomb so the mummy is not unleashed, but he's actually more successful.
I mean, speaking of the mummy, Arnold Vosloo.
Yes. Arnold Vosloo, I was only familiar with this. He did those shitty Darkman sequels, like those direct-to-DVD. Darkman 2 and Die, Darkman Die.
Oh, oops, sorry.
Oh,
missed these.
Whole movie
sorry.
Is stacked with great performances. Even Jonathan Hyde doing a stereotypical role is amazing. Jonathan Hyde, yeah, Alan Chamberlain, the Egyptologist on the other side.
Oh.
He's really good in that. I mean, audiences around that time would have known him. Hell, that was actually Scott Hall who said the "Hey Yo's," but NWO, I'll give it to you. Too sweet. But yeah, Jonathan Hyde was also, like 2 years previously, he was in Titanic.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of audiences would recognize him from that. But Arnold Vosloo was a weird one too, because you don't see him in a lot, which is kind of understandable when, you know, with the range of acting. I like that they didn't give him much speaking. Again, I'm not sure how heavy his South African accent is, because he is from South Africa. I don't know if they just gave him everything sounded like it came out of a modulator.
Yeah, I was wondering if he did all the mocap for the mummy when he was all in when each progressive state of, you know.
I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that they did that with him. It would have been simpler than having to, you know, there wasn't anything particularly graceful about the character, and it's more actory than it is like, you know, putting Doug Jones into like a, you know, your Slender Man type of outfit.
Yeah.
Eric Avery, you know, a very famous that guy.
Oh yeah.
Shows up immediately, and Autumn's like, "Oh, all right, who is that guy?" I'm like, "It's Eric Avery. You've seen him in a bunch of stuff."
Yeah. I always like him when I see him though, and he could have been just like this, you know, just one note. Oh, I'm the stuffy boss, but I kind of give him a little bit more dimension.
I like that. Yeah, they added that extra layer when they finally revealed he's part of the Templars as well. It was interesting seeing Patricia Velasquez in this, because I keep forgetting that we're familiar with her. She was Marta on seasons 1 and 2 of Arrested Development.
Oh,
Job's girlfriend.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I never realized that was her.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize that either. She looked familiar, but I couldn't remember where I had seen her from, because I couldn't remember if she was the woman in that, or she was the one in My Name is Earl and The League.
And let's face it, she is ridiculously attractive in this.
She is. It was funny too, watching the movie. I had forgotten about the body paint. Yeah. And you know, I've got my 10-year-old son there. I'm like, oh, I forgot about this.
I'm glad they covered up all the stuff with the paint.
It's PG-13. It's action movie PG-13. But you know, the cast works really, really well together. I really like Rachel Weisz in this. You know, again, for someone I hadn't been all that familiar with her work prior, and seeing, you know, what she's done since then. If you haven't seen the movie The Favorite, she is fantastic in that.
I haven't.
It's the movie about Queen Anne. It's got Emma Stone, and Olivia Colman won an Oscar for
nice.
it.
I mean,
it's a very good movie. It's not stuffy historical like it like lets off being. It's very witty. It's produced by the same people who did The Great, which just wrapped up on Hulu. So there's a lot of levity to it. There's a lot of quick wit to it, but she is excellent.
I most saw her most recently in Black Widow.
That's right. Yes, she was in Black Widow. And for a minute, it took me a minute. Like, who's that? Oh yeah, it's Rachel Weisz. Never mind.
And, you know, I will say, her chemistry with Brendan Fraser is amazing.
It is.
They have really good chemistry in this.
It is, and again, that's one of those things you just can't. People will simply luck into that. That's why, you know, again, we're gonna make that we're gonna make that tie back to Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford and Karen Allen had such great chemistry together. It worked where he didn't have that with Kate Capshaw.
No.
Or really Alison Doody.
Spielberg had
Judy.
better. Spielberg had a better chemistry with Kate Capshaw.
Yep, exactly. But the beauty of this movie is that it definitely feels like it was made by Spielberg's, Mexican non-union equivalent, Senor Spielbergo. Steven
Does.
Sommers, by the way, is a fantastic director for this kind of stuff. And I hate, I hate to call it schlock because it's not schlock. This is a fun movie.
Yeah.
But when you go back and you look at it, this was not a top shelf Universal.
No.
For them. If you look at if you look at, because my son was asking, he's like, well, the why did the special effects in Raiders of the Lost Ark age better than this? And I was like, okay, well, they didn't have computer generated animation back then. CG was not really was not a thing in '81, so they had to rely on a lot of practical effects. Why do those effects hold up? Because they were using top shelf talent. They had Steven Spielberg, they had George Lucas, they had ILM.
Yeah.
I don't know who did the special effects for The Mummy, if it was ILM or not, but and honestly, the most jank looking effect out of everything is the kind of like the decomposed living mummy.
Yeah. ILM contributed most of the shots, the shots, with additional work done by Cinesight and Pacific Title / Mirage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So but ILM is probably going to be given most of the credit for that, especially because they probably did the mocap for Imhotep's kind of animated corpse, and they were probably also like stretched the gills on Phantom Menace at this point, so it wasn't exactly their A team that was on this. But that being said, it adds to the cheesiness, it adds to the fun, it adds to the more butter on your popcorn.
Yeah, honestly, for me, the parts of the CG that were kind of most noticeable were during the climax, actually, with like a lot of those, the mummy warriors were obviously guys in suits, and it was obvious CG, and the whole like coming out of that weird black pool.
Yeah, where you can see like the overlays where they were just like using digital eraser.
Yeah.
But with that said, it adds to the fun of the movie. A lot of the effects up until that point are actually really good. I feel like the scarab beetles are they look great, especially for something that has to be duplicated, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
A lot, especially the stuff under the skin, looked really good for that time, and I love the face in the sand.
Yeah. Especially right at the beginning. Well, that was like the first effect shot that you really see.
Yeah. But not only that, but the one closer towards the end, towards the climax, when there's that big sandstorm and you just see the face coming out of it. And I can tell it's a CG effect, but it just looks so good that you kind of forget about it, and you're having a blast watching this movie.
I was just flipping up to check out something else, and I noticed on the special effects area here of Wikipedia, rather than using a stunt performer, Vosloo performed the motion capture of the character himself. So,
all right. Does that answer your question?
That was Vosloo, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and that's fantastic. He did a really good job. It is kind of strange that we don't see him in a lot of other things now. I mean, obviously he shows up for The Mummy Returns, which, considering how much money the first Mummy made, you figure they would have dumped a little more. And I'm sorry that even for 2001, that Scorpion King effect is unforgivable.
PlayStation 1 looked better than that one.
Yeah. And I know, we have to take things for when they aged, but it was 2001. We got dinosaurs on screen from a Universal pick, not 8 years before that. But it just, again, I love how they did this. I felt like they utilized their locations were great. This was back in the day when you could just shoot everything on location somewhere.
Although not gonna lie, when they just gotten off the ship and they were in the river, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that is a set.
Yeah, yeah. Scorpion King effect was the best damn special effect that ever existed. I'll fight you over that.
Kurt, I can. I'm just reading your text, but I can already hear your sarcasm.
It's dripping. It's again. I love it. I also love too that there's a lot of like those influences that Lawrence Arabia has on films shot in the desert or shot, in Egypt.
When they're like all like standing there waiting for the sun to just rise, and the image of Hamunaptra just appears. That is really cool.
It is. It's a gorgeous effect.
Mm.
I really like that. Moving on to the music, Jerry Goldsmith did a great job. I've always loved Jerry Goldsmith's music. I feel that in a lot of ways he was kind of criminally underrated. I mean, mainly when it comes to Oscar love or anything like that. He's only got 2 Oscars, and they're both the same movie.
And we lost him way too soon.
Yeah. I mean, just 2 years before, he had composed the music for LA Confidential, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I love that. So I was really happy to see it. What's that?
He did one of the Star Treks, didn't he?
He did the motion picture.
Which, I mean, say what you will about the movie, the score was actually not too bad. It was pretty.
Well, that's where we got the Next Generation theme from.
Yeah. So you can't diss it on that. You can diss it on a lot of other things, but not that.
The motionless picture. The fact it's a G-rated film and people get like turned inside out and the transporters.
Yeah, and the fact that it was pretty much they just took the script from an earlier episode.
Yeah, exactly. And then just surrounded it with 2 extra hours of just walking around, watching a ship fly out of dry dock after, for 20 minutes.
Yeah. But anyway,
back to The Mummy. I just, there's just so much to really enjoy about this movie. And this was, I think I told you this. I originally intended to show the kids The Mummy when it was on Max, and I was really pissed to find out that it wasn't on there. So we watched Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which is fantastic, and eventually we'll get a review of its own. But I was so happy to see. I was on Tubi just looking to see what had been added. I'm like, oh shit! The Mummy movies are on there. Oh, and by the way, the Jurassic World movies are also on there now.
That's fine. I own them, so no problem.
I know.
Well, I don't own the newest one, although now I really do need to buy it.
Yeah, and The Lost World, a movie that we had considered reviewing.
Yeah.
Was also on Tubi now. So, but it was, it's just so much fun to watch. I liked, one thing we didn't bring up about Evie also is that Evie intellectually is the equal, if not the superior, of everybody in there. She definitely knows her stuff. It didn't seem contrived.
Right.
But they gave her enough of like that late 90s femininity that just made it like she was never going to be a damsel in distress until she had to be, but she was smart about letting herself get captured.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even when she was a damsel in distress, she was still like giving her brother tips on how to read the book and save them all. So
that was great.
Looks like a stork, a bird stork.
Yeah, it's Horace. Oh yeah. It's like that. Even with that sense of urgency, they're still like they have to step back for a second and just realize, oh, it's foolish me.
For me, the one part about this movie that's it always like it's just such a glaring logic problem. But it's always going to bug me about this one. It's like, what was the name of the curse that they put on him?
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, it's a horrible curse that they never want to use. But if he should ever escape, he's basically a living god.
Right. Well,
he's invincible. He can control the sand. He can control the plagues of Egypt. So that's a curse. How?
Well,
I
I'm fairly
mean,
certain that they didn't expect anybody was going to get in there.
yeah, it's
Keep
like,
in mind, they did booby trap that tomb
yeah, they did.
with salt acid.
Yeah, but as we also saw, yeah, if anyone's determined enough to get that treasure, they're gonna release him.
Yeah.
And the Magi didn't do a great job. Speaking of which, the Magi, I when I heard that, I was like, oh, cool, that Assassin's Creed Origins. Not when you play Magi, so.
Yeah. Yeah. But I really, there's, you know what? There's one more thing I want to bring up before we wrap that I did love, for all of Benny's faults, the resourcefulness that he had in terms of he had every single, established religion on a chain, and he knew every one of their prayers.
Yeah. And yeah, hey, eventually he did get to the one that actually had common ground with Imhotep.
Imhotep, yeah. It's Imhotep and Anaxunamun.
Yeah. Though I do need to figure out like if there's like exactly what time frame are we overlapping that it's Imhotep's time versus when the Israelites are still in Egypt.
True.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
but that's not.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It was, but again, I really have high regard for this movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie that has no right to be as good as it is.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while, and I watched it again last night. It's still really fun.
It is. And I remember when it came out, I was like, I don't know. And I think I went after the second weekend because I heard people say, this is just, it's fun. And it did gangbusters business.
Yeah.
For a movie, for something on like the second tier.
Yeah. I got the here is budget on 80 million, box office 416. That is a nice profit any way you look at it.
That's global, right?
Huh?
Global, right?
I would. It's on Wikipedia, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I would venture to guess that's probably what it is.
Yeah, I'm guessing yes.
I'm going in just to see if they actually give me a domestic take on IMDb here. One of us will find it. But yeah, no, that is a nice chunk of change. And I'm fairly certain it definitely cracked over 100 mil domestically.
Yeah.
Looking.
Wonder how the second one did.
It actually, I think, did better. So domestically, it took in $155 million.
Yeah, the sequel, they put in about 20 million more, and the box office was about 20 million more.
Okay. You get what you get.
Yeah. And then the third one,
nobody watched.
Not so much. Oh, wow.
By the third one, are you talking about the next movie?
Yeah, I'm talking
the next Mummy movie, or are you talking about the Scorpion King?
I'm talking the Mummy, Tomb of the Emperor, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
Right.
That actually it still pulled in 403, but budget was 145. They put a lot more money into it for a little bit less return. So
Yikes.
Yeah, it was a good place to stop.
Yeah. All right, so I've got the numbers right here for The Mummy Returns. 98 million budget. Opening weekend, 68 million, which back in 2001 was amazing. Domestic gross of 202, worldwide of 443.
I saw
$10 and a ham sandwich, Kurt.
I saw it in theaters.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh wait, I got it. I got the numbers here.
All right.
Wow, the Mummy movies in general just always pull in right around 400. The Tom Cruise 2017 Mummy pulled in 410 on a budget of anywhere from 125 to 195.
Oof.
So 125, you're looking at breaking even. 195, you ain't breaking even on that.
Right. Yeah. That's really weird. It must have done better overseas.
I'm guessing probably big in China.
Probably.
Tom Cruise action movie.
Yeah, it's true. But that's all I've got to say about The Mummy. I love this movie. It was great seeing Tomb of the Emperor. I did promise none Egyptian mummy movie sounds great.
A non-Egyptian mummy movie.
Oh, yeah, okay. Gotcha, Kevin. Yeah, no, that does sound interesting. I will have to check that out. I'm fairly certain it's also on Tubi as well.
Yeah, because I've seen Mummy Returns. I've never seen Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. And hey, Brendan Fraser versus Jet Li, that's not bad. Although you don't have Rachel Weisz, she decided not to come back for the third one.
By that time, she'd won an Oscar.
Oh, well, that would explain it.
That's it. All right, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor is on Tubi.
All right, yeah, that was 2008.
Wow,
so 9 years later.
No memory of that movie even coming out. And Rob Cohen, who did the first Fast and Furious movie, as well as like Dragonheart and a few other things, was a director there. I'm really shocked I don't remember that. Now I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, Rachel Weisz wasn't in there, but they replaced her with Maria Bello, who played the same character.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's all I've got to say about The Mummy. If you haven't watched it in a while, it is now free on Tubi if you can handle the ads. And I feel like Tubi is making such a groundswell now, people just simply don't mind. It gives you the opportunity to get up, get it, refresh your beverage or something like that without having to pause.
Yeah, I mean, I freaking hate commercials. I pay for YouTube just so I don't have to watch commercials. But, I mean, watching The Mummy, I had like maybe 3, maybe 4 commercial breaks, and they weren't long. I would say maybe 45 seconds to a minute at most.
Right, and they didn't break at weird times. They were definitely within setting or scene changes.
Yeah.
So definitely do yourself a favor and watch this one. So yeah, I know we both give us a thumbs up, and it is way better than it had any right to be.
Absolutely.
So we are going to continue this train next week. We haven't decided which yet. I know that we've got 2 movies on the block right now. We don't know which order they're going to be in, so keep your eyes posted for Deep Blue Sea and RoboCop. I'll do 2 movies we have never covered before, but I got to figure out that.
I've never seen RoboCop. I've seen clips and pieces of it. I've seen RoboCop 2. Never seen RoboCop 1, and he has never seen Deep Blue Sea, which is one of my favorites. So
yeah, I was too busy seeing Phantom Menace and American Pie about 4 times each in the movie theater. So
and The Mummy.
And The Mummy. I saw The Mummy. I saw Drop Dead Gorgeous the week it came out right before I left the theater.
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea is another 1999 flick.
Yep. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to be hitting that. We might need to do RoboCop next week just to break up that 99 love. But we'll figure out another. We'll figure out another movie. I think I have another one in mind, but I'll run it past you. But anyway, that is The Mummy. I'd love to know, what are your thoughts on The Mummy 1999? Leave a polite comment below. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. That really helps us out. It also gets you all of our stuff, all of our retro videos. It also gets you the audio feed to the podcast that Mike and I host, Geek Salad Podcast, that you can get wherever you get your podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify. Actually, Stitcher's no longer going to be around now, so it's...
It's going away at the end of August.
Yep. So we are also on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. You can get there, or you can get the audio feed right here on YouTube. Give this video a like; it does help us in the algorithm. Also, if you're on iTunes, give us a 5-star review. Hey, please. We're also on the socials. To keep this brief, we're on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast, but if you go to Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads,
I just joined Threads today.
Huh? I just put us on there as well. So if you are on Threads, Blue Sky, or Twitter, we are at Geek Salad Radio. So you can check us out there. And yeah. So anyway, folks.
Geek Salad Radio.
Yeah, there we are. And I just followed you. Now
I just followed you back.
Just another goddamn thing I had to follow up on. Ugh.
Anything to get rid of Twitter.
Try to remember Blue Sky. Yeah, eventually they're going to drive me off anyway. I've already hit my rate limit because I've got every fuckwit on there that it's got to show up in my thread before I get to anything I want to read. So anyway, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
Also, again, check out our podcast. We have just released our 2-parter on our favorite TV series finales. We got an episode that we're going to be recording hopefully next week, where we are going to be reimagining and changing the course of history for some beloved box office failures that became beloved movies. We are going to pretend that they didn't exist at all and come up with what it would look like today. And do we buy or do we sell? So anyway, we'll be in the studio next week for that. So hopefully you should see that within the next couple of weeks. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Kurt, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. And watch out for those tombs. And they might be cursed. So go forth and be nerdful. Talk to you later.
Always carry a cat.